A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Hour on GBC24 and GTV with Conrad Kakraba. Coming up in this package, formal welcome ceremony for car power ship. And then Burkina Faso goes to the polls to elect president and parliamentarians. A formal welcome ceremony for car power ship from Turkey took place at Tema on Sunday morning. The power ship, which docked on Saturday night at Tema, is expected to add 225 megawatts of power to the national grid.
After several delays and postponements of its arrival date, the car power ship named Ayisegul Sultan has finally arrived in Ghana and docked at the Tema Harbour. This is Ghana's first power ship with a generation capacity of 225 megawatts. A second power ship with the same capacity is expected to arrive in the country by the end of the first quarter of 2016. At a ceremony to officially welcome the ship to the country after it was towed by tugboats from Abidjan, where it was decoupled from the submersible vessel the Black Marlin, the Minister for Power, Dr. Kobna Donko, said the power ship alone cannot resolve the power crisis.
The arrival of this ship or this barge will not solve all our problems. It will make a contribution. As we speak, the 250 megawatt power project at Abuazi is also proceeding. Indeed, that is even bigger than the car power ship. The KTPP plant, 220 megawatts, is also at completion stage. TICO, 120 megawatt steam expansion has also been completed. In fact, indeed, His Excellency will be commissioning it in about a week or so. TAPCO has also gone through the full combined cycle. Therefore, a lot is happening in the sector.
The power ship is expected to be connected to the national grid within a week.
Transmission line terminates this way. It's going all the way to our Smelter 2 substation. We have tested all the equipment at Smelter 2 substation. Everything is okay. Now we have the final hookup between this tower and then the gantry, the very top there. And that will be done during the course of the week. So with regards to Gridco, in 1 week, we expect that everything should be ready.
In 1 week?
Yes, within that is a Gridco aspect of the job that we are going to do.
And after you have done your job, what next?
Well, there are other jobs that should be done here which are not under my control, and like the fuel line and other things.
The power ship is expected to generate uninterrupted power supply at one of the lowest prices for thermal power generation. The CEO of Karadines Holdings, the mother company of car power ship, Mr. Orhan Karadines, says the power ship will use heavy fuel oil to generate electricity, but it will also have the ability to convert to natural gas as soon as local natural gas supplies become available. He says car power ship has also assigned a dedicated shuttle vessel to ensure uninterrupted fuel supply.
We will be using low sulfur heavy fuel oil, which is the lowest cost fuel available today. It is almost half the cost of LCO and West African pipe supplied natural gas, and it is operated in state-of-the-art brand new power generation with the highest efficiency.
A power purchase agreement was signed between the ECG and car power ship for the latter to produce 2 power ships each with a capacity to produce 225 megawatts of electricity for 10 years. Energy experts believe that in the interim, this will be a more economical solution to Ghana's electricity supply deficit with local employment opportunities. Abdulhai Mumin, GBC24, Tema.
Let's stay a while on the energy sector, and the Minister for Power, Dr. Kobna Donko, says local content in all sectors of the economy is necessary if the country should develop. He says international cooperation and foreign direct investment must be complemented by the country's efforts. The minister was speaking at a consultative meeting on local content for the power sector at Takoradi.
The meeting, organized by the Power Ministry, was under the theme Developing Local Content for the Electricity Supply Industry. It brought together participants from the Volta River Authority, Gridco, the Electricity Company of Ghana, as well as industry and commerce. Discussions centered on how to ensure that local content and participation thrive in the power sector value chain. The Minister for Power, Dr. Kwabena Donkor, emphasized the need for local content and participation in all sectors of the economy.
We must place a lot more emphasis on local content and local participation in all sectors of our economy than we have hitherto done. I am not anti-foreign capital. Indeed, we want to attract a lot more foreign investment into the power sector, but this investment must partner indigenous effort.
Dr. Kwabena Donkor said government is working to re-fence the debts of the power sector. This is said will enable the sector to improve on its services.
The power sector over the last couple of years has experienced very serious liquidity problems. These liquidity problems largely arise out of the changing generation mix. For future growth and development, hydro is no longer an option. We'll have to look at other forms of generation. And I have charged Energy Commission to critically examine development costs that comes before them from various IPPs.
Ghana is still fine-tuning its guide to provide amenities and facilities in the various districts and regions countrywide. At its meeting in Accra, the Ghana Institute of Planners shared ideas on development controls, slum development, waste management and landfill sites, which are problems that city planners are grappling with. The 44th Annual General Meeting was on the theme, Rapid Urbanization and Spatial Planning Challenges in Developing Economies. The event comes at a time when Accra especially is developing fast but without conformity to planning procedures. The AGM attracted planners from the public and private sectors as well as representatives of related agencies and departments. The president of the Ghana Institute of Planners, Dr. Stephen Irenchi, urged the government to consider difficulties that planners in the country face and help remedy the situation.
Water, air and noise pollution, loss of natural habitats and cultural heritage, climatic change, pressure on existing infrastructure, traffic congestion, housing supply shortfall, and more. As government refuses to hire planners, with retiring officers not replaced.
In an interview, the Deputy Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Madam Bernice Adikuhelu, gave the assurance that the government is taking steps to ensure sanity as far as infrastructural development and planning are concerned.
Ghanaians should know that things will change. For instance, in the Western region, we've done a lot of planning already, and so the whole region is well laid out. So business people would know where to go for land. The residential areas have all been mapped out. And this is the kind of plan we want to be implemented for the entire country.
The new members and fellows who were inducted into office pledged to discharge their duties responsibly. Let's go to the Ashanti region now and focus on education. Vice President Kwesi Arthur is reminding parents to place premium on the awards education as government provides the infrastructural base needed for progressive free senior high school education. He said the Mahama-led administration will not shortchange Ghanaians on its pledge to roll out free SHS policy next year. Mr. Arthur was speaking at Adeba to mark the 50th anniversary of the Tepa Senior High School in the Ashanti region, from where Nuto Bibinuto reports.
Tepa Senior High School started some 50 years ago through the instrumentality of the chiefs of Tepa by relocating the school to its present home. This same school had its status changed from a teacher training institution established by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in 1965 to a senior high school after the relocation. From such humble beginnings, the school has grown and making academic strides, leading to its feat as the best performing school in the Ashanti region last year. Of the current population of 3,780 students, 2,360 are boarders, putting pressure on current infrastructure. This notwithstanding, the headmaster, Mr. Udro Entry, thanked government for the fast pace of construction of a GET Fund-sponsored assembly hall.
We can talk about overcrowding in our dormitories. And this has come about because of the fees of the school in academic work. Every parent now wants to bring his ward to this school.
Vice President Kwesi Mr. Arthur noted that education continues to be a pillar of this government and more investment shall go in that direction.
The government is investing to improve secondary education to benefit 125 senior high schools in the country. We are upgrading the facilities in 50 senior high schools, while we are adding another 75 for quality improvement, comprising new science laboratories and re-equipping the resource centers.
Students and staff who contributed to the success story of Tepa Senior High School were honored.
The Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Nana Oyelitha, has repeated the call for teachers and heads of schools as well as parents to support the fight against perverse behavior and attitudes that lead to early marriages and teenage pregnancies in our society. She says early pregnancy or marriage has distorted the bright future of many girls with great promise. The Gender Minister was speaking in Accra at the launch of this year's version of what is called 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence.
This year marks the 24th year of the 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence campaign. Although statistics show that cases of early marriage and teenage pregnancy have reduced over the years, what still remains is pretty alarming. The current campaign in Ghana is being done along with the over 5,000 organizations and other participants from 187 countries and territories worldwide. This has become more important because many young girls have had their education cut short and their overall progress distorted by teenage pregnancy or early marriage. Other threats to girls include defilement, rape, and child labor. A recent UNICEF report said 34% of women between the ages of 20 and 24 living in Africa are married before the age of 18, and that there are 125 million African women who are minors when married. The campaign is calling for an end to gender-based violence and accountability on the part of policymakers and community members to end violence, discrimination, and inequality. According to the 2014 Ghana Demographic and Health Survey, overall, 14% of teenagers between the ages of 15 and 19 have begun childbearing. 11% have had a live birth and 3% were pregnant. Every year, about 14 million adolescent and teenage girls are married worldwide. In most of these cases, these girls are always forced into the arrangement by their parents. The 16 Days campaign begins on 25th November, which is the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, and ends on December 10, the International Human Rights Day. Gender Minister Nana Oyelitha says in response to gender-based violence, the government, through the ministry and in collaboration with UNFPA, has set up gender-based violence response centers in Agbogloshi and Malamata markets in Accra. The minister urges school heads, teachers and parents to help address the problem of gender-based violence in Ghana.
Soon it may be possible to smell Christmas in the air as we turn the corner into the last month of 2015. We wrap up the penultimate month of the year by quickly running you through some news of the past week in pictures. You're watching the news on GBC24 and GTV. We'll be back with more. Now, some international news. Polls have ended in Burkina Faso as the country went to elect a new president and parliament after a year of political turmoil. It is the first election since last year's popular uprising, which toppled long-standing President Blaise Compaoré. Security was tight, with up to 25,000 troops deployed across the country. The vote was due to have been held last month, but was delayed by a failed coup in September led by members of the elite presidential guard. The election is meant to mark the end of the transitional period following Mr. Compaoré's removal. Next is sports. Now some sports news. Britain's Tyson Fury pulled off one of the great boxing upsets as he outpointed Vladimir Klitschko to become heavyweight champion of the world. It was a tough and often messy fight, but Fury, courtesy of his superior boxing skills, fully deserved to be awarded a unanimous decision. Ukrainian Klitschko, whose 9-year reign as champion was brought to an end, simply could not work the challenger out and did not do enough to win. Fury is now the WBA, IBF and WBO champion. The 27-year-old Manchester fighter is only Britain's 5th bona fide heavyweight world champion after Bob Fitzsimons, Lennox Lewis, Frank Bruno and David Hay. The self-styled Gypsy King had taunted his opponent before the fight and even dressed as Batman at one news conference. Now some arts news. One important aspect of Ghanaian culture is our way of dressing. A few years ago, the Ministry of Trade introduced the concept of Friday wear to encourage the patronage of local fabrics. Now, this has caught on well with citizens, many of whom now don Friday wear on the last working day of the week. The color, the patterns, and the names in these fabrics depict African culture and tradition. Do you know the name of your favorite African wear or cloth? Today on the arts segment, we bring you a compilation of the names of some local textiles.
Ghana-made fabrics on the local market have special names. Whereas some of these names are proverbial, others sound symbolic and rather philosophical. The names include Bibia Wanimre, Obeka me ho asɛm a fa konya tena so. Obapa Ahwene pankasa Awoye Abofra bonwa no ma chichide Owu atwede obakofo mfro Eniwa Achichide echi ABCD Sankofa Adasape Mobro Ahwedepo Sika Wantaban Unsechi beya oda entisa unsayem
Well, some names, now you know. I don't know the name of mine. Maybe I'll find out and tell you later. And some will do anything to cheat sleep, employing all sorts of techniques. And somewhere between sanity and insomnia, the spirit may be willing, but your eyes will surely give you away. As Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni delivered the State of the Nation address, some of his high-ranking ministers went further than the little telltale nod. They actually fell asleep. Interesting one there. Next is the weather report.
With technical support from the Ghana Meteorological Agency.
Good evening and welcome. For the forecast, it's going to be partly cloudy over the southern sector, backlight sky over the north, but slightly hazy and dry, and also relatively cool over these areas. In terms of rain, just 10 to 20% of rain is expected over the southern sectors, precisely over the coast and part of the highlands. In terms of rain over the north, no rain over the northern sector. Temperatures will be 19 over that area, 23 over the middle sector. The coast, we expect an average of 25 degrees Celsius. We still with mist and fog patches over most areas over the transition and parts of the forest. But so drivers that may be using the road at dawn, please do so with caution, and also hunters that will be going out for hunting also must be careful and know their targets before they shoot. In terms of the afternoon, Monday, the start of the week, we expect partly cloudy over the southern sector with sunny period over most areas, but the north will still be dry and sunny, very hot over that area. Temperatures will range between 37 and 40 degrees Celsius, 34 over the middle sector, 33 over Greater Accra, 32 over Secondary and Takrady. In terms of rain, we expect just a few spread over the Ashanti region, eastern and part of the coast. Over the sea, the winds will be a bit moderate but not too destructive. But fishermen that may want to use the sea or go for fishing, please call Met Office on our 0302 764926. So this is going to be from now till tomorrow. Up on our screen is the outlook for weather. They say it's never static. It keeps changing from season to season, and this time around it's changing from the wet season into the dry season. But over the southern sector, 1 or 2 rains is still expected within the week, but it is going to be very sunny. So please, let's drink a lot of water, and also let's avoid the hottest part of the day between 11 and 3 p.m. So we meet same time. Is bye for now.
And that's it for now. Next is Talking Point, and the focus will be on environmental sanitation. Good evening.